Let's get started. Let me start first. First, nice to see you all here. Thank you for joining us. My name is Cyrus. I'm from HKUST Entrepreneurship Center, and I am very happy to bring you this annual entrepreneurship competition. And friendly reminder, the application link will be open next Monday, and you have around 10 days to fill in all your information and upload the video for the round one selection. Meanwhile, I hope you have been thinking about your idea, how to communicate it via a video format. And this is why I have organized this workshop, in the hope of helping you to evaluate your innovative idea and how you can communicate with others that what you're doing is innovative enough so that you can attract others' attention. I think this is very important. I think this is very important in terms of entrepreneurship journey, not only for this competition, but in the long run. Because right now you are trying to convince the judges, but going forward, you need to attract team members, employees, customers, and you know what? Sometimes vendors, those people you pay money for their service, you need to attract them in order to work with you as a startup. So this is a very important step or skill set to know how to communicate your innovative idea effectively. And it is our pleasure and honor to have Professor Huang and Ms. Amanda So to this evening to help you and share with you some tips how to do this. Professor Huang is a professor in our business school, Department of Economics. He does a lot of research on innovation policy and some digital marketing and e-commerce as well. And Amanda is our alumni and also currently our students. She is studying a PhD, doing research in innovation as well. But Amanda had a lot of experience in startups. She is currently running 2 startups, and also have leveraged these startups with a lot of fundings from government, and also she had a lot of experience in forming teams and working with different parties. So without further ado, I would like to pass the time and the screen to Professor Wang and Amanda.
Okay, so welcome to this workshop. So I'm a professor at the Department of Economics, and I will be very honest about one thing. I never do startup, so I will, if you are really listening to some valuable, a suggestion, then you need to wait for Amanda. So I will also give her more time in this 1-hour workshop. But I do serve as a judge for the competition. So for somebody who, among the judge panel, there are some, some of us who only maybe do research about innovation, entrepreneurship, but never start, something by themselves. So how do we think, and how do we, evaluate this, your proposals, your ideas? First, let me be clear about one thing. So among the startup funding, there were public funding and private funding, and they are kind of different. And we know that, so this is a famous, figure about this value of death. So usually when we start, what I do in university is we do some research and apply funding from the Research Grant Council, which is mostly basic research. And basic research is, in most of the countries, is well funded by the public money. And then on the other side is, the company that have the profitability, and then there will be private investor that's putting their money here. But in the middle, from the basic research to apply research, and then to do the prototype, and then start to setting up a company and making it commercialized, there is this death valley. And there is this, there's a line here called the minimum investment level to survive. And then there is a part of most of the company will not be able to survive at the middle, in this death valley. So public money, public funding and the private funding, they are pursuing different goals. They're on two ends. Public funding aims at something. Later, I will show you what. And then private funding, we are very clear they are for profit. Public funding are, among the world is very popular in US, Europe, and Canada, and in Hong Kong. There were many schemes trying to give money to help, especially through university. There will be some, students, professors who carry out some innovative idea into an innovative entrepreneurship firms. So let me tell you why, a government want to use public money to fund innovation. So I try to summarize it into 3 points, and you can understand it's not for profit, then for what? So the first keyword is called social returns. So usually the social returns of innovation in form of new product or technology will bring in some knowledge spillover, and then they are often much larger than the private return. Private return means profit, and maybe later IPO, stock price. But the social return means that you introduce a new product that feed the needs of many, or during the development of this product, technology, or it's just a business model, it's going to give knowledge spillover so that it give insight to many peers and to many others who are doing research, so that universities sometimes they have incubator, and why they want people to work together, because they want people to interact so that they stimulate the idea of each other. So the in launching new product and knowledge spillover, these are the two social return that will not be realized on the profit statement. However, it's worthy for the public money to spend into them, because they're going to return to the society in other forms. So actually, the social return to the R&D spending was found in the by many economists that they are twice as high as private returns. So building a successful innovative startup, maybe on the financial statement you earned $1 million, but actually the society is getting 2 million. So that's one thing, social return. Second, here we are funding innovation. Okay, so it's not you are trying to open a milk tea shop. Okay, so it's something about I will use the term radical innovation. So spending on innovative startup result in more patent and more radical innovation, and this is so this paper shows that compared to the same expenditure of traditional corporate R&D. So think about that. So both the startups and the big corporation, they are both doing research and development. In the corporate, they have the resources they have their own lab, and they have their incentive to develop product and do R&D. But usually government will sometimes delegate some research capacity to the big corporation, and also support their research projects. So there are some Microsoft lab, or in the old day there's this Bell lab, and so these big corporate, they do some R&D, and sometimes the government give money for them to do so. However, it turns out to be the returns from spending public money on the small innovative startup, the return is larger. Okay, the reason is the small startup, they are usually doing more radical innovation. So for the big corporate, what their innovation focus is maybe improving their current product or current business model. They will not do much radical innovation that destroy their current product. We call it a creative destruction. Usually they have less incentive to do so. So social return, radical innovation, this is what the public money is looking for. And lastly, the small startups are especially important for development of immature industry. So big corporate, of course, they're operating in something that's because their business are mature, they have mature industry. but small startup are doing something that's immature. So this industry has not, became mature, and there are lots of firm enter into it. There are some things still, there are uncertainty, and then they're still at a stage of exploration. So the key rationale of using public money to fund innovation is to pursue social return from radical innovation in immature industry. So if later I'm going to show you some example and try to you to understand these concepts and think about what kind of idea can attract the judges, because the judges is not spending trying to decide who is the most profitable one. They are not spending their own private money. They are basically delegating. We are delegated as there is public money from the government, and then who should we give it to? So let's look at this example. Okay, it's innovative. So first, in early 2020, so Hong Kong government offered funding for firms to setting up new face mask production lines. So within the 6 months, the program successfully support 20 new production lines, and then reduce the unit price of face mask to 1.62 Hong Kong dollar. So maybe previous this at the beginning of the pandemic, this to get a mask you need to queue in line. Maybe the price is 10, okay, and then now it reduces the price to 1.62. So the government set up this scheme. So doing face mask itself is a profitable business. It is possible, somebody outside of this public funding scheme, they do this business in a successful way. However, at that particular time, the social return of this particular business is large because of this pandemic here, and Hong Kong only have by the time one face mask production line. So that's why the government decided to quickly give money to this 20 production line to pile up the face mask production. So producing face masks is not technologically very innovative, but at that particular moment, the reason that government want to spend public money is because there is social return. Okay, it's going to use to control the pandemic for the public health purpose. So this is one example about what is social return. And of course, at that time, Hong Kong face mask is not a very mature industry. Let's look at another example. So, since 2014, in Hong Kong, 7 bike sharing provider, these bike hailing services. This bike sharing provider started their business. So 7 of them, and then after 5 years, by the end of 2019. There was only one company, local bike. Now you only have the blue one, the yellow one, the green one. They are all bankrupt and cannot continue. So in this this whole industry, there is an innovative element. You need the information technology. You need the how to optimize and then allocate your bike. But there was some innovative element, and then by the time of 2014, this is still of course, an immature industry, but there is this over excessive entry into here. People are following the trend, so that there is a period of time that Hong Kong have 50,000 share bikes, and then that turns out to be too much, and then now the stable number is around 12,000. That's by my memory. So there is a time there's excessive entry into it. And this is not a good environment. Some of them even use public money. This is not a very good example, because it's wasting lots of this public money into this area. And also sometimes if you look in Hong Kong, if you take taxi, you typically see they use different app in their dashboard. They are basically providing the same function. Having the first one is very valuable, but when you have the second one, third one, and fourth one using the very similar ideas, then they are not as valuable as the first one. They are not radical, and that they are not, they're already in a mature industry. So what kind of idea to pursue? Okay, so yeah, as a innovative startup. So 3 words: social returns. When when the judge is looking to social returns, one thing is you do not need to overemphasize profitability. At this stage of you presenting your video or later the one-page executive summary, you are not going to, make a financial statement and then predict, how is the cash flow and the thing. This is not the thing we are looking for. And also, don't just frame this business as, wow, this is a super profitable business, okay? In my view, if you are proposing like a cryptocurrency or trading app, this is not, something that this public money should be investing in. This, if this is indeed making lots of profit, then it should be funded by private investor. And there is not much, reason for public money to support a trading app that can, help people to trade and get, better returns. Of course, for a blockchain, there are many, applications that have social return. For example, some people use it to manage medical data or something. So this is fantastic, no problem. But if this, is purely about, wow, this is making a lot of money, this is not something the public money is looking for. The second is, it's about trying to show this innovation is radical. Radical meaning that it's not somebody who have done before. Somebody who have a bike share, now I'm proposing another bike sharing app, or I'm proposing another ride hailing app. So this is not something, radical at all, right? So to be radical, do not follow the trend, okay? So you can look at, your peers, maybe the profile of the people who previously in this competition, or from the directory at Cyberport, Science Park, or Innovation Technology Bureau. They publish those who they have founded before. Try to see whether how much this idea is being pursued, whether it has already been pursued by many other startup teams. For example, in last year's competition, because that's a pandemic time, right? So many people propose online education, no matter it's about online, education on doing sports at home, online education doing homework, online education in kids or something. It's a trend. So people do this, online education app, or in different forms. When the judge look at this, because we review lots of these proposals, 80, hundreds of them, and then if you see, wow, lots of people are proposing the same idea, it's very hard to stand out. Okay, so that's also something to try to be radical, so which means it's not just following the trend. And lastly, try to pursue something I call it immature. It's similar to the second point. For example, in face mass production, of course it's an immature industry in Hong Kong in early 2020, but this is not in 2022 anymore. So these are, I hope you can, when you present it, your 1-minute video, you try to, make it in these 3 criteria, suitable, so that, wow, the judges look at it, wow, this is some project that's worthy for the public money to spend on. So we can check the founder history of innovation technology funds and the science part, and see whether similar idea have been pursued before. Lastly, I want to just talk one thing about, I call it, either you call it writing tips or presenting tips, or video tipping tips. These are 2 economic terms, unfortunately, but I'm going to explain them. We call it showing signal, but not cheap talk, okay? What is a cheap talk? Cheap talk means you speak, something without any hard evidence. For example, my idea is super innovative and profitable. So, just talking about things without hard evidence to support them. People all try to say I'm a good person. I'm a, when you go to the job market, you say, I'm a very diligent person, very hardworking, detail-oriented, and something. But there is no hard evidence to support this thing. But there is a different way to present that we call it a signal. Signal means that you have hard evidence. What is a hard evidence? It means that it cannot be easily mimicked by others. So a good example of signals in this, proposal writing will be a patent, some kind of award, or I have some team that already have support from Science Park, private investment and endorsement from established professors. So there are some, if you have this kind of thing, that's hard to be mimicked by others, then you definitely want to show it during the video and show it very clearly that I have already obtained these higher evidence that hard to be mimicked by others. So thinking from the perspective of the judges. So first, if your innovation involves lot of technology, okay, the judges usually are not expert in the specific area. So even from the engineering or science professors, they may be good at physics but don't know biotech, or they are in biotech but don't know information technology. So we need to explain the marginal contribution. Okay, so basically how to explain the marginal contribution is by comparing to the old solution and product. So when you have a video, you try to present, I have this new product, new technology to do so. Make sure you compare it with the current solution. What is the current product that we are improving, towards them? So otherwise, other people don't know what is the real value of your technological innovation. And if it's about, your idea is about a business model, then it's very important to explain why it has not been pursued by others. What is the specific advantage that your team has to pursue this idea? Because if it is just a business model, like ride-hailing app, or Amanda is going to tell you about his background is about this helper matching app. Like why this has not been pursued by other? If this is not something that's super hard to think about, then why this hasn't been pursued by? What is the special advantage that you have to get this idea realized? Is there somebody who already tried this idea and failed? And why are you still pursuing that? So this is the something that's for business model idea you need to do that. So this is a Steve Jobs quote, says that give the consumer what they want. So here is like give the judge what they want. They try to give the judge what they have not think about. So if it is something that judge think, oh, this is so obvious, like we have already, everybody knows that this is something that we can do. It's not innovative. It's not that fantastic. Okay, so people don't know what they want until you show it to them. So it's better that if your video or your proposal is something that, wow, the judges think that, wow, I never think of that. This can be done, especially for business model, that would be fantastic. So okay, I will just keep short, and that's the end of my talk. I will give the time to Amanda, who have practical experience. Okay. I will leave the question.
Do we take question now, or you want to take
I
question
think let's leave after Amanda presented, so we know how much time we have.
Okay. So Amanda.
Okay, yeah, sure. I will try to keep it short as well, because it's more like I'm not a judge of things. It's just like a fellow entrepreneur to entrepreneur sharing. And then actually, I really want to learn from you guys as well. So let's treat it as like experience sharing. And okay, so a little bit about my background. So I'm a student of Professor Huang, and I'm co-founder of this company and some other successful and failed projects. So Whiskey is like a software development company, and we can like help with different kind of it, basically a vendor, like what Cyrus said, you need to convince them to kind of work with you. And so it's like another is Mama Helper, foreign domestic helper matching platform, which like Professor Huang also mentioned. It's more like a philanthropy project now. And currently we have offices in Hong Kong, Shenzhen, UK, Philippines, Indonesia, and we also have like a metaverse address, which is whiskey.eth. And actually, like you can connect me on LinkedIn for Ask Me Anything. So basically, you can also ask me anything here. You just type it in chat box, and then like we can like share. So today agenda is more like talk about my experience, and I will also like speak about some tips on like making pitches to find resources, teammates, and like to VCs or like another. And then I will also let you know about like currently tokens or like NFT is actually a very hot topic in terms of like funding. So I will also talk about it later. And a little bit warning, I think it is very from the bottom of my heart. Really think before being an entrepreneur. So if you want a comfortable life, don't be an entrepreneur. So it's gonna be very, very tough, to be honest. So my experience in like creating business in terms of ideas, there's two books that I really recommend. One is like 0 to 1 from Peter Thiel, founder of PayPal. And another one is like Don't Make Me Think from Steve, like a very famous marketer. So first point is like design thinking. Oh, it's very bad slide, sorry, very a lot of words. So basically in design thinking, we always solve pain points. So there's sometimes that you have pain points which really make you kind of like feel pain. And there's sometimes your ideas are good to have. When your ideas are good to have, it's very hard to kind of convince people to use your product or service. So make sure that what you're doing is a pain point. So in design thinking, basically the main idea is to iterate. So you kind of emphasize to think of a pain point, and then you go to user, and then you iterate, and then kind of refine your idea so that your solution can really solve the pain point of the user, and it's not just a good to have. So this is one kind of like way to think of business idea. And another idea is like from 0 to 1. It's a zero. So from how you can make something out of nothing. So from 0 to 1, from 0 to like from nothing to something. So at one point to add here, basically I add something like Google something. So basically because it's a very short time here, I cannot explain a lot of things here. So be an entrepreneur, you need to be proactive. Yeah, please Google things whenever here, because I cannot explain everything to you. So please Google it. And so for 0 to 1, basically the main idea is to create monopoly. So basically, like we always say, this market is like a really big market, and then if I just get 1% of it, it will be like $1 billion business. It is bullshit. Don't do it. Basically, what you do, you need to start from a niche market and do monopoly. Like why you need to do it, like, you just read the book. I won't explain it here, but you just read the book. Basically, you start from niche market and then you create monopoly. That will help your business. Or if you're not creating a monopoly, you do a 10x improvement from what you have in the market now. Basically, if you have like a search engine idea, you need to be 10x better than Google in order to be successful. Basically for Zoom, actually before Zoom there's Skype, right? So Zoom cannot create monopoly because there's Skype, but then it create a 10x better experience so that people will switch to Zoom. So basically it's create a monopoly or create a 10x improvement. And then the next thing is like UX UI is less important, so I will go very fast. So UX experience is more important than what it looks, because people always focus on, this will look better, this will look better. No, focus on UX experience. Try to make user do what you want them to do in 3 steps. So try to make it like 3 steps, then they can already achieve what they need to do on your platform or through in your service. Make it easy for them. So my experience in terms of creating businesses, don't always think, because a lot of people always say that, I want to create a startup, and then they just think, just do it. Always action, don't think. And another important thing is team. Remember to find good teammates, because people always will kind of treat their investor as God, or like serving their investor well. But then actually your teammates is your investor of their time. Team is always, like, you can ask every entrepreneur, is almost always the most important thing in terms of creating business. As employee, you are using time to earn money, but then as employer, you are using others' time to earn money. So like, team is that important. But then another thing is that although team is important, remember, don't premature expand. Sometimes, like, entrepreneur will tend to, because there are a lot of stuff that you need to do at the start, so you tend to hire a lot of people at the start, get a lot of people in for, so you kind of premature expand the business, and then it will make your costs rise so high. Your burn rate will be so high. So remember, don't premature expand when you create a team. And also, you can try to hire people from all over the world. I think this thing is more like a problem from people from Hong Kong, because like Hong Kong is already a city, so we tend to always think just within this big city. But then like, actually people outside of Hong Kong, they always think big, or like like it, they always think about you can hire from the whole country or whole world. So actually we can expand our mind as well. We don't, like, currently it's like a metaverse age. You don't need to kind of hire people just from here. So I will move on to making pitches. And the most important thing in making pitches is storytelling. So when actually, like, when you make pitches, you need to kind of like think of a storyline. So kind of how you want to move on from one item to another item, and then to the third item. So make it like a flow very well. For this pitch, actually I didn't make a good demonstration, because I didn't have much time to prepare for it. So it kind of flow a bit weird. But then when you're making pitches, because you just have a very short time. People say it's like elevator pitch, right? You just have a very short time to convince people that they need to choose you. So you need to make it very accurate and very articulate. So you need to make a story that can flow very well. So basically storytelling. And yes, to Cyrus, even for vendors, even when you give money to people, you still need to kind of like tell them what you want to do, and then try to convince them to give you a lower price, stuff like that. So, because storytelling is very important part in terms of like being an entrepreneur, or like making pitches, or spend more time to talk about it. So how to tell a compelling story? There's actually no kind of no rigid rule. It really depends on what you have and what you want to say and what you need to say. So it depends on the story content. So usually when making pitches, you will have this flow. You will say that, oh, I find a pain point and it is so painful, and you need to make the judges emphasize with you. They need to feel the same pain point, make them feel that your pain point is important. And then you will say that, okay, this pain point is very important and I get a solution for it. And you will, like what Professor Huang said, you need to kind of like tell them your solution is unique, and why your solution can kind of solve this problem well, not like the others. So you will tell them about the competition in the same market and what is your unique selling point, what core technology you have, what kind of awards that you earn, and if you have like listen to Professor Huang, like all those things you need to tell the judges. And then you also need to tell them, oh, how many people would need that this kind of solution market, how big is the market. For market, this section is a bit tricky. Just now I told you that, oh, you need to choose a niche market, right? So even though you choose a niche market, you need to tell them how big is your total addressable market. So for example, Airbnb. Airbnb start from like they ran out couches in their room, right? Just a little small bed in their room. So but the total addressable market is the whole tourism market. So they will say that, oh, our total market is like this big, how many $billion market. And then what we are focused on is this niche market of like people who would sleep in coaches in somebody's house, something like that. So you need to explain the big market, and then you tell them about your niche market that you're focusing in. And then the next item, you'll tell them about your team. How good is your team? Why you guys? Why not the other guys, but you guys? And then you also, the last thing is that you need to tell them how they can help you. The call to action. If it is to investor, you'll tell them, oh, how much I need, when you need to invest in me. And then if it is to judges, maybe you can tell them, oh, maybe you can vote for us, support us, like that. So there's no rule, tell your own story. And just like what Professor Huang said, adjust it based on your audience. Depends on what you think they would like to hear. Because when you pitch to your employees, when you pitch to your vendors, when you pitch to your investors, the story will be very, very different. So adjust your story based on your audience. So next we'll go on to like I think more important to you guys, grants to tips for grants and competition. So I'm not sure how other entrepreneur will tell you, but from the my experience, or like my friend's experience, like Hong Kong competition is a little bit different from competition or grants from other places. Maybe because of our education system, it's more like a little bit stick to the marking scheme. So for most grants or like competition, they will tell you how they would judge your application. So basically, like for example, CyberPro CCMF, they will show you that they will kind of how many marks on team, how many marks on business model, and then remember to adjust your kind of pitch or things based on kind of their marketing scheme. I'm not sure whether it is a good. I think it's a good or bad thing. Good thing is that you have a kind of a good guideline, and a bad thing is that you need to really rethink how you would tell your story. So pre-pitching round is like that, like follow the marketing scheme, and then pitching round is more like storytelling. Remember, don't make them bored, because you can imagine that maybe there's like 100 teams. They hear if you're in the middle, they will hear 50 teams before you and 50 teams after you. Make sure that they remember you. So if they can't remember you, then your effort will be wasted. So that leads to another small points to note, is that try not to use company names that nobody can remember, unless you're trying to scam people. and try not to use name that is hard to spread by mouth. For example, my company whiskey is actually not that good because it's very hard to kind of know how to spell it when you speak by when you spread by mouth. For example, Deliveroo, Tinder, Food Panda, this kind of name is very easy to remember, and also it's very easy to kind of when I tell you by mouth, you can just you can easily Google it on or type it out. So these are some little tips. We can like exchange ideas in Q&A later. And I saw that Jern, you have typed some comments. I will answer it in Q&A later. So the next is tips for pitching theses. My advice or like my opinion or my sharing is that try to bootstrap before finding VC. Don't get VC if you don't need to. From my bottom of my heart, don't get CV if you VC if you don't need to, because it's very troublesome to your business. But this rule do not apply if you're running a biomedical startup, because like biotechnology or like biomedical really need a lot of money, so you really need VC money. And when talking with VC, remember to understand that they also need to deliver their results. Most of the VC, the money is not theirs. They also have, they will call it LP. They have LP that they need to limited partner to report to as well. And remember to understand their standpoint as well when talking to them. And remember, because actually there are a lot of bad VC in the world. There are more bad VC than good VC in the world. So remember to background check them before the first meeting, and read your term sheet before signing. Before you sign anything, even employment contract, if you're gonna be employee, remember to read thoroughly everything. So there's two books that I recommend when about VC. These two books, just screenshot it if you need. And then actually there are other funding way. Crowdfunding is one way, but then to be honest, crowdfunding for is very a little bit hard now. You need to spend a lot of effort in when you prepare for the campaign. It's usually for people who already have the money and they just want to do marketing. Then they go on this crowdfunding platform, because like demo video or like marketing your campaign is very expensive. And then actually there's like a new method. There's new methods for like I just randomly paste it here. There's new method for fundraising via tokens or like NFT. Because it's not the main point for this talk. We can just exchange ideas later. Basically, you can search online. You currently like blockchain is really very hot, and you can actually raise money via like issuing tokens or like issuing NFT. So there's new way. You don't necessarily go to VC or like or like a crowdfund anymore. And actually VC is also switching to invest in DAO as well. So basically when you issue token, your company become not really a token, it's kind of like a DAO. We call it DAO, like you can search, Google it online, what is DAO if you don't know. So basically even like famous VC like Sequoia is like the top one VC in the world, like almost top one, because they're missing out the blockchain hype. So they were top one. They invest in like Apple, Google, I think they missed out Amazon and Facebook, but then in fact they invest in Google and Apple, and also Alibaba and Tencent. So basically, even top-notch VC like Sequoia, they are investing in token as well. So don't worry. Don't worry about issuing token. It's completely fine. Basically, even A16Z is also a very famous VC. They are also investing in like kind of token wise in using tokens to invest in startups. I put it this way. So basically like that. And then there's actually also grants from different blockchain as well. So there's a lot of different ways to get funding. So I think my time is almost that. So that's it for kind of my sharing. We can exchange idea through Q&A.
Thank you, Professor Huang and Amanda, for the sharing. And I think you cover actually the whole startup journey. For the preparation of the competition, right now they are preparing 1 minute video. But actually, if you are aware of the whole startup journey, you can think ahead. You don't need to make the decision or the exact plan yet, but you know what is ahead, so that in your video, in your content, you can include some ideas what would be moving forward. So again, the video is about your innovative idea, but your innovative idea is useless if there's not solving any pain points. And if you are doing business, you have to find a way to make money. So these things need to be inside the message, but you need to adjust which part you spend more time, more emphasis to convince others. So questions. I saw some questions on the chat room.
Yeah, maybe Amanda, you can reply to that first.
Okay.
Sorry, Amanda. But since we are already all in our home and no way to talk to others, maybe we can welcome the questions to ask directly.
Speak up, yeah.
Yeah. So anyone? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question.
Okay. Maybe if you have question, you can speak up, but then maybe I can answer the first two questions first. So so it's better to emphasize this point in our deck and business. I think it is. I think you're talking about, you're saying it during Professor Huang's speech, right? Yes, it's better to emphasize your special point, of course, because every startup is different, right? And of course you need to emphasize how your startup is different from other startup. So it's better to emphasize this point in your deck and pitch in business proposal. Yeah. And how many years you have run the company? Okay, I start being an entrepreneur when I was year 2, and it is 2013, so you can calculate my age. I start being an entrepreneur 2013. And so can I have the record? Oh, this one you need to ask Cyrus. How do you deal with patent protection? Okay, actually for patent protection, it's good that you're with HKUST. HKUST actually have, it's not advertisement, they have a very good patent team. You can ask I think Entrepreneurship Center and also the TTC, I think is it TTC? TTC in
Tech Transfer
HKUST.
Center.
Yeah, they have a lot of good advices that can give it to that they can help with. And actually, like in Hong Kong, we have a funding for like getting patent as well. So basically I think it is every company or like every individual, you have like an amount of funding that you can get for getting patent. I think you have 1 or 2 chance to kind of get funding for patent. So, and then you can also get advices from Entrepreneurship Center and TTC in HKUST. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, I can add, give you a quick and dirty answer, but this is only my personal opinion. Don't take bring me to HKUST. All right. As a startup, you can have your patent, but it is not used as protection. Oftentimes, it is actually to show others you have something that is novel, that something is new in the area, that at least you can pass the patent examiner. Why I say that? Because even someone infringe your patent, do you have the money to sue them? If you have the money to sue them, the first case, then they will ask for delay, re-examine, and things like that. Then meanwhile, the court date keep pending, and then 2 or 3 years. How about your burn rate? You need to keep eating dinner, right? So that's the case. So in terms of protection for a startup, actually that is not much. But it is still important because sometimes it is actually a proof to others that you have something to build on. You have something special to build on. So when you look at patents, I would not recommend you to look at it as a protection sign of thing.
Okay, many thanks. It's simply that as an engineer, the legal part is like the one I feel less confident about. But well, many thanks for both.
Yeah, and actually, anyone talk to you, they will ask you if you have a patent or if this is patentable. But I don't think in many cases, you can really defend it as a startup, unless you have a very powerful backer. For example, if you have investors, they have many different resources. They can help you to fight. Then there's some chance. But usually, it's more like to show others what you can do.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
very, very true, Cyrus. I totally agree with what you said. But I have some point to add. It also depends on what kind of startup you want to do. If you want to do like a biomedical startup, I think patent might really protect you. If you're doing a software startup, don't bother. Don't bother for a patent. But if you're like yeah.
Yes, but in some cases, for biomedical, if your patent require you to disclose the formula,
yeah,
you need to be very careful. So
Coca-Cola never patent their formula.
Yeah, so those is another topic, but you need to have some other strategy to deal with that.
Thank you.
Sorry, may I have the question directly?
Sure.
Okay. So actually, we are trying to establish a VR software, and even it's not something hardcore, but we still need some support, like from professors in the future. But as a business student, I really don't know how to approach these professors that may provide support and professional knowledge to us. And so I wonder when and how do you think is the best time to approach these professors, and they may provide support for us, and they may accept?
You say support, you mean from you because you talk about VR, right? So it's about technology wise or what?
I think it's internet software
So you are mainly
application.
data science professors to help you, right?
Yeah.
So in my opinion, it's if it's your idea is usually quite difficult. Is you when usually professor, if they have those computer science professors, they have something that they feel like they have a commercial opportunity and want to do a startup. They tend to the startup they do is in this style. But if it's others bringing idea to them, I think it's rare. So, but doesn't. But you can still try. I mean, it's not a big deal. So, you just need to be more brave and then talk to professor that you know about have the technology. I think one tips I can give you is so are you a undergrad or graduate student?
An undergraduate student.
Okay. Right. So the tips I can give you is first approach some graduate students. So if you find some professors' technology is related to yours, then usually professor will have their website and they will have the list about who is in their lab, and then you can try to approach these graduate students. That's the something that you can try, because nowadays in the engineering department, in graduate student, most of them will not pursue academic career. Instead, I would say majority of them will pursue a career in the industry, and then so some of them may be interested in your idea. I think that's the best way to approach. If you directly talk to the professor, usually, I think that the success rate is low, but of course.
Okay, thank you a lot.
I can add something. First, as Professor Huang just said, you need to do your homework. You need to go search which professors is working in the area that you are interested in, and then try to reach out to them. And as a student, I think if you send them an email and request a meeting or some advice, usually they will welcome you the first time. But you need to be prepared, because first, you need to know what you are really looking for. You need to know what you are doing. Otherwise, others cannot help you. Second, is the things that you are working on should be interesting enough that they will want to continue the discussion. So if that is just something to them is very trivial, maybe the tech you are asking for advice already on the market or in the research for 5 to 10 years, they may not be very interested to continue the discussion. Third, it is usually very difficult if you are going in the first time and ask people to help you. So in terms of your project development, right? I guess the first few times you're just going in to ask for some advice, and then with the advice you get, you make some progress, and then as a report and follow up, and then from then on to build the relationship. I think this is not only work with professors. I think work with those who are more experienced investors are like that as well. So this is some kind of approach you can try. Make good use of your student status.
Okay, thank you a lot.
So anyone want to ask? I think Amanda also addressed all the questions in the chat room, right? So no more questions? If no, then I would suggest you start to okay. There's something more. Well, about this talk, Professor Huang and Amanda, would you mind if we share the slides and the recording?
Oh, okay for me. Okay for me.
Okay, great.
My
Thanks.
slide is poorly made, but it's great.
No, you touched upon many points that they need to take care of, especially the point that think hard before deciding to be an entrepreneur. So if there's no more questions, someone raise their hand. Daphne, just say it out loud.
Hi, Professor Choi. This is Daphne, MBA student. We are keen to explore this program, this competition, but because this is just the first year we joined HKUST, I wonder, do you have any suggestion on how we could find the relevant professor to give us advice on the topic that we are going to propose?
Okay.
Can we just find the area that the professor is focusing on and send them an email?
Yes, I think that that would be the only way, because I cannot speak for the professors, right? So if you find some faculty members that is working in your area, and then if you have some advice would like to seek from them, you can send directly. I think usually when a professor see a email from a student, they will reply.
Okay. Actually,
but at the same time, you need to understand, all our faculties are very busy. So if you don't get a reply in a week or so, either you use the method Professor Huang just said, find out their students. Try to get in touch with the students. Sorry, Professor, but I have to say, usually the work is done by the postgrad students. So actually, they may be more helpful.
Okay.
Right.
In this case, maybe we can send our topic and our proposal to Professor Huang first, and would appreciate that Professor Huang would recommend some professors to us.
You send me an email.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Our proposal is blockchain related. We will write you an email. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? Have I missed out any questions? If no, then I hope you enjoy this evening and start preparing your video. Take the tips from Amanda. Don't just think, you need to do. So for the videos also, you need to think about what you want to say, and then start making the first draft. Review, send to others to comment, and then make iterations. I think you still have time for making. If you are some hardworking entrepreneur, you have time for 3 to 4 versions of your video. Then get your preparation to the submission. Okay. So thank you all. I wish you a wonderful evening. Thank you, Professor Wang. Thank you, Amanda. I hope to see you guys in person soon. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.